was today nothing more than a look above failure, which could be about to send stocks lower. But this morning, we saw Taiwan Semiconductor gapping up higher, surging past all expectations. Today, we look at the fear and greed index. We are sitting at 71. Previously, reading was 69. Now, we look at how the indices fared across the board. The Dow was up 161 points. The NASDAQ was up 6.53. S&P 500 was down 1 point. Russell 2000 down 0.72. Now, when we look at advancing issues versus declining, we had 55.2% of issues declining on the day. And we come over and look at sectors across the board. By far, technology was leading the way, thanks in part to Taiwan Semiconductors. The next indice in the green was energy. However, the laggers out there today, real estate and utilities. Now, we saw Taiwan Semiconductor this morning gapping up higher, run. However, if we look at that candle, it does not look that bullish. And also, with a bit of a sympathy play, we saw Nvidia today barely making another new all-time high. However, not being able to close above the all-time highs. We look at the SPX real quick. We can see the SPX slightly making a new high before returning back into the rising wedge. Then we also saw the Dow Jones gapping to another new all-time highs. Now, is this cause for concern? The Dow Jones did not come back into the range, meaning it was not a look above potential failure. Now, something else that also made another new all-time high today, gold barely making a new all-time high. However, not able to close above that price point. However, since we did spike above it, that really opens the door for that ABC projection at about 27.82. Now, we look at the dollar index. The dollar index has had one heck of a rally up over the past couple weeks or so, smashing above this structure breakdown point number 1, smashing above structure breakdown point number 2, and going ahead and completing the double bottom pattern that we've had mapped out for quite some time. Now, are we going to start to see weakness in the dollar in the near future, or is the dollar going to continue to push up higher? What I will say is, with the dollar showing so much strength, it is quite odd that we actually see gold up as high as it is. Normally with a stronger dollar, we see gold starting to weaken here just a bit. We come over, we take a look at crude oil. Crude oil basically forming a hammer-ish looking candle out here for today. Is crude oil trying to get a bounce up? Keep in mind, Israel still has not went on the offensive. Now, if and when they do, we expect crude oil will probably go rocketing right back up. However, if they keep prolonging it, maybe even after the elections, maybe we'll see crude oil starting to come back lower, which will be good for the consumer at the pumps. Now, we come over real quick and we take a look at the VIX. The volatility index was down roughly 3% on the session, and we can see it basically closing near the session lows. And with the VIX going lower, normally that's going to favor the bulls in the market. Now, if we look at after the bell, what we have going on, Netflix is going to have earnings after the bell. And we can see right now after the bell, we had a wick down, bam, spiking on the way up. After hours, we see Netflix up 1.39%. Now we come back over and we look at the Dow Jones. If we look at this, you can see, I'm going to zoom this up here just a bit for us, but we look at this candle, you can kind of see that we have a wick on the bottom of this candle. Now, this could be part of a hanging man reversal pattern. It is one of the weakest of all reversal patterns, however. Then as we dive down, we look on the 4-hour chart, MACD indicator still looks strong at this moment. Then we dive down towards the 1-hour chart, and you can see the MACD indicator clearly has divergence. It is nowhere near as high as it was in correlations with the swing points over here. And you can clearly see that gap right below us that needs to come back and get filled at some point. Out here on the 30-minute chart, MACD indicator looks like it may have just crossed to the downside. And we do have a gap a little bit lower down here, about 430.76. Now, if we look at the volume profile levels real quick, notice we are closing right near or right below the point of control. And this is going to be a D as in dog shaped profile. And what a D shaped profile signifies is we are likely going to get a breakout or breakdown from this pattern. Now, when we come over, we look at the Russell 2000, the small caps. Russell 2000 was a little bit weaker out there today. It was down 0.69 cents. And we look at this, also could be a hanging man candle. We see the wick on the bottom. So we have a hammer candle in the context in a rising market. And we look left, this is right near a resistance zone. So do we start to get a reversal, or is this nothing more than a head fake trying to fake out some of the shorts and squeeze them to go ahead and take the market up higher? We look out here on the 4-hour chart, MACD indicator still looks strong, but we dive down, we start looking at the 30-minute chart real quick. Notice the Russell 2000 gapped up big yesterday, never came back down and filled the gap. We did not even today come down into gap support. And we look at today's candle, basically an inside day, meaning the high today was lower than the high from the prior day. The low today was higher than the low from the prior day. And that also sets the stage that tomorrow is likely going to be a breakout or breakdown from this pattern. And we can make the case that we have a D as in dog shape profile as well, which also indicates tomorrow is likely going to be some type of range expansion. Now, I want to make everybody aware Apex having a massive 80% sale off all their evaluation accounts. $85 activation fee across all account sizes. If you want to take advantage of this offer, use the link in the description box down below. Use promo code Mike at checkout. Now, when we come over and look at the SPY, you can see today we were able to gap up to where new all-time highs, and then we started to come back lower. The MACD indicator on the daily chart does look a little bit weak, and we have this high volume area just below us at some point could come back and get tested. But let's not forget, we have multiple ABC patterns in play. First one being up here about 592.09. The second one up here at about 600. Now, when we come over here and we look at the 4-hour chart and see the MACD indicator kind of flatlined where we are right now. But then when we dive down and look at the 30-minute chart, notice we were able to come back and fill the gap today. However, could we be about to go lower? Because now if we grab our Fibonacci extension tool, we measure A to B, B to C, and we project down for D, that gives us a price completion at about 581.18. Now, I'd also classify today's volume profile as a B as in boy, which means if we break value area low, we are likely going to go substantially lower. And let's not forget, we have two gaps, one of them being over here on the 8th, and another gap from the day after the FOMC statement. So we're going to see, do we come back and start filling those gaps? Because as we come over and look at the futures markets, and we start off looking at the 4-hour chart, think about this as top number one, top number two, and notice the wick on this candle. We wicked above the previous high. Then what do? Bam, we slammed right back down. Now, today during the live stream, we're talking about this pattern as well. And that could be a double top pattern. If we look at where this double top pattern would complete at, it would be right down here near this white line, somewhere in the ballpark of 57.71. Now, when we look at this, in order for this pattern to be validated, we must be able to break below the swing point right over here. If we do not, that will not be a validated double top pattern, but it is most certainly something that I'm going to be paying very, very close attention to. Now, when we come over and look at the 30-minute volume profile levels, what do we see? Well, we're closing right near value area low. And today during the live stream, we talked about this A to B equals C to D pattern. We were basically mapping this out when the market was way up here. Now you can see we've already broken the B point. So that opens the door that we're highly probable going to make our way down towards 58.72. And as we look at this, notice we have very poor structure on the volume profile right down in this area. So once we break value area low, if we can start trading below it, it'll be very easy to come right back and re-auction this area, which will bring us right near the completion of that ABC pattern. Now, we do have value area high coming in at 59.10.25. The point of control will be 59.05 and a quarter, with value area low actually coming in at a ballpark of 58.89.75. Now, what I'm going to say is if we start trading above value area low, I want to look to start targeting right here as target number one, somewhere in the ballpark of 58.95.50. Anything above that, I want to target this minus development area at 5,900, then the point of control and value area high. If we can break value area high, we're probably going to come right back up here and kind of test anywhere from candle bodies right up here towards the candle wicks. Now, we come over and look at the QQQs. Qs today not making another new all-time high, but we did gap higher and we did come substantially lower. We come out here and we look at the 4-hour chart, MACD indicator slightly trending to the downside. But then we look out here on the 30-minute profiles. Notice today the big gap up, and we do have an ABC pattern setting up. Now the Qs today barely miss, go ahead and fill in the gap to the downside. Now, if we map out the A to B equals C to D pattern real quick, we can see that gives us a price completion at about 490.41. Now tomorrow, if we're trading below value area low, I will want to look for lower prices. However, if we're trading above value area low, I want to look and see, can we potentially have a little bit further upside testing? And we look at the economic calendar for tomorrow. What do we have on deck? Well, starting off at 8:30, we have building permits, housing starts, and then at 12:10, we have FOMC member Waller speaking. Other than that, very thin in terms of economic news for tomorrow. However, when we come over and we take a look at the futures markets real quick, you can see we have this A to B equals C to D pattern on the 4-hour chart with a price completion down here at about 20,123. However, this pattern is not verified yet. We do not get confirmation unless we break the B point. However, we can take shots here, pushing runners down towards this area with our thought in mind that maybe this pattern does not complete and our runner target just simply gets stopped out. Now, when we come over here and we look at the daily profiles real quick, you can also see we have an A to B equals C to D pattern. Here's the A to B leg. The B to C leg is a corrective leg, and we've already been able to take out the swing point. Now, notice the 100% completion is going to be somewhere in the ballpark of 20,300. And, it would not take much to really push the markets down towards that price point. However, if we start trading above value area low, then I am going to want to look for the rotation to basically play itself on the way back up, possibly even tomorrow, running all the way up here towards the untested point of control at 20,628. But tomorrow, if we're trading below value area low, I want to be looking for lower price targets. The bigger target trades, I think, would be the path of least resistance to the downside. Now, when we look at the volume profile levels, value area low coming at 20,371.25. Point of control is going to come in at 20,416.25, with value area high being 20,481.25. Now, if you're sick and tired of blowing up your prop trading accounts, go ahead and check out these risk control settings by watching this video right here.